Hello, Gremlins! Happy New Year! I'm starting off this year with another drawing where I roll dice to decide the characteristics of a fantasy character using this chart of traits. I started by rolling an 8, so this character will be a satyr. Rolling a 7 next means this satyr has the power of strength, which immediately makes me nervous since I don't really know how to draw muscles. I then rolled a 5 for the satyr's animal companion, so I'll be drawing another capybara. This is the third time I've rolled a capybara for one of these videos. This particular capybara will be a ghost capybara, as I rolled a 17 next. Finally, I rolled a 19, so this satyr's weapon of choice will be a crossbow. Longbow. I need to double check that I haven't done everything wrong, because I am pretty sure it was longbow. Except now I'm not so sure it was longbow because I had written in my script that it was crossbow, which means I did everything wrong. Yeah, the chart says longbow, okay. Sorry about this. Unedited. Quick panic. I'm probably going to actually leave this into the video for fun. The rough sketch of this image took a while, as I tried to figure out mostly how to make the satyr look very strong. Originally, I posed him with a large heavy rock on his shoulder, but I couldn't think of a good reason for him to be carrying that rock. As I'm also giving him a longbow, I then thought maybe he could be carrying a very heavy game animal in one arm, to show off his strength and his ability to hunt, but I didn't really want to draw a dead animal. Finally, I decided to give him a large mossy log to be carrying, a log on which his ghost capybara is perched, not that the capybara is adding any extra weight. The position of the log also covers up a bunch of this guy's arm muscles, saving me from having to draw them, so it's a win-win for me. I also originally was going to have this satyr shirtless, as satyrs often appear in media, but decided instead to give him a waistcoat, mostly so I didn't have to draw more muscles on his torso. As I started refining the sketch, I decided to change another element of the satyr's design. In my rough sketch, I gave this guy big curly goat horns, but then I decided I want this character to be a trans man, so I redrew his horns to be a bit smaller and straighter. There's also some top surgery scars visible under his waistcoat. While I continue with this sketch, I want to talk a bit more about the coming year or two. For the last year and a half, I've been on a gap year, and I've developed a schedule of uploading once a week on Monday mornings, in my time zone. I'm pretty sure most of my viewers are in North America, so it's Sunday evening for you. However, my gap year is over now. I've just moved out, and I'm starting school again in a few weeks. School needs to be my priority, as well as learning how to be an independent adult. Don't worry, I'm not going anywhere, but I am going to cut down to only uploading every 2 weeks for the foreseeable future. I've finished my sketch now and begun to work on the line art. I started with the hair and face, decided that the line art for the hair was too thick, then erased most of it and started over with a thinner brush. I'm glad I made this change. A lot of the time I'll notice my lines are too thick but do nothing about it and then regret it later in the process. This satyr is a ranger, a woodsman. He carries his longbow for safety but isn't a hunter, despite my earlier thoughts in the sketch process. He will, however, defend the woods against people who want to destroy the environment. His ghostly companion is a capybara, who he tried to save when she was alive after people badly injured her. The satyr was unsuccessful in his attempt, but the fact he tried made the capybara bond to him, and as a ghost, she follows him everywhere. She tries to be intimidating to protect him, but it isn't particularly successful. However, she is a very comforting presence to a man whose mission leaves him in solitude. She isn't the only ghost of an animal who loves this satyr, she's just the one who is constantly in his presence. I'm using a color palette I've used many times before for this image. Green, brown, and hints of gold. It works so well for forestry and nature type characters, and I just love these colors. The satyr's hair and fur are both brown. His hair a slightly lighter shade. His waistcoat is green with thin gold stripes and gold buttons. He also has 2 belts, one to secure his quiver of arrows to his hip, and the other one to hold a leather pouch of medicine, food, and survival supplies. The log he's carrying matches his color palette, dark brown bark with green moss. His skin is a deep tan from the sun, and his eyes are golden, with slit pupils like a goat's. The capybara ghost is the second ghost animal I've drawn for these videos, and I use the same effects as I used before, but with green rather than gold to match the rest of the image's color palette. Her outlines are the lightest part of her coloring, besides her pure white eyes, and she's shrouded in green mist. My recording failed when I was shading this character, unfortunately. Luckily, I didn't lose too much progress, and other than the time it took to shade this character's arm muscles without making it look weird, the shading was uneventful. The background of this image is a forest, again. Forests are just a background I'm really comfortable drawing. For this forest, though, I did do one thing a bit different and didn't draw any of the canopy leaves. This makes the trees appear much taller than I normally draw, and makes the forest seem a little more open and less overgrown. There are plants and bushes on the ground, as well as leaf litter, but it still feels open and easily traversable. There's also gold sunbeams streaming down through the trees. This forest isn't dim and damp, but sunlit and beautiful. I added a dappled light effect over the satyr's body where sunlight would hit his skin through the trees, and darkened the shadows to provide more contrast. Finally, I added some golden cast light to the edges of some of the background trees, and the image is complete. I hope you enjoyed this drawing. It was an easier one for me to ease back into creating after taking a break for the holidays, especially since I'm in the process of moving and am quite busy right now. I'll see you again in 2 weeks. Until then, bye!